Welcome back. In this video, we will see about the necessity of conducting an usability testing for medical devices. Medical devices go through different phases during their manufacturing. They go through the validation phase and the design phase. There are so many things, right? So to understand how they perform, to know about the medical devices, or to know how it's going to perform on the market, or how it's being performed, or how it's being used, to understand all those things, we have to conduct usability testing. So the regulators, the ones who regulate, ones who write about the medical device regulations and the international standards, which are the actually in most of the cases the results of these regulations, they say that usability testing is a de facto requirement. So as a consequence, it is something like a standard operating procedure among manufacturers that develop medical devices. So if people who manufacture medical devices, if they fail to conduct a usability test, it is like they are asking for rejection of their manufactured application for clearance by the regulations. That will be because they failed to conduct usability testing. So usability testing is very important. Usability testing, however, is not explicitly required by law, but it is recommended best practice. The FDA, the regulatory governing body of United States, it says the necessity in design validation regulations in 21 FR 820.030. So it is not explicitly said that we need this particular usability testing, but it is implied through this design validation. See, the design validation, how can we validate a design? We validate a design only by conducting some kind of testing, right? So that testing is actually the usability testing, right? There are different ways, different types of testing. We will see that in the later videos. But then there is one thing called as a formative testing, where formative usability testing. Formative usability testing is like testing the product step by step. So by doing that, we can validate the design. And then another thing is the usability testing minimizes risk of user error and regulatory roadblocks. Another important thing is that a human factors engineering will ensure safety and effectiveness. So how will we measure this human factor engineering? It is by only through conducting usability testing, because usability testing, as we see in the previous video, a person will have a first-hand experience on the equipment. So this will provide uh, all the data related to human factors on the usage of medical device, which ensures the safety and effectiveness of the device. Moving on, the regulatory guidance on usability testing. So is there any regulatory guidance? As we have seen in the previous slide, it is not explicitly informed or asked for, but then here are few documents which requests us to conduct usability testing without mentioning the word usability testing. For example, FDA guidance document, uh, they say medical device use safety. We have to mention it, do it by design, HCP guidance, everything is given. Then international standard IEC 60601, once it's then IEC 366 2007 and 2015, ANSI AMI HE 74. All these things, they say that these things are important. These things in sense the usability testing. Right? So manufacturer must conduct usability test as a part of the use. So it is very correct for us to say that usability testing is a de facto requirement. So whenever a medical device is being manufactured, it is better to conduct usability testing, preferably a formative usability testing. Now comes a very important question. If there is a change in already available medical equipment and the change is very minor change, should we do a usability testing for the change that has happened? So from a regulatory point, they say we need to conduct a usability testing only if the change is associated with the safety. If not, we don't have to conduct. But the best practice is always good to conduct a usability testing no matter how small the minor change. But there is also some things that will help us in understanding really minor change or a very negligible change. We will come come to that later. So look at this design change here. The design change is actually the display and the keypad. Right? It's not a very big thing, very big change in the technology. I mean the way the user uses, but then the technology has changed, so the user may have a little discomfort, or not. It's not correct to say discomfort. They will have a different experience using this equipment. The transition will be different, so it will take some time for them to get used to it. So it is always better to conduct an usability testing in this case. Right. So while they may seem minor, these enhancements are significant from a user interaction perspective, they will transform the way users engage with the device and could potentially impact safety during use. So it is suggested to do usability test for every minor changes. Every minor change. For every minor changes, that is the serious question we have to ask. So here, it's not necessary to conduct every minor change. That is what we wanted to convey. But then, readers, the following is a sample of design changes that might not warrant further usability testing because they are trivial or serve to improve usability with virtually no chance of unintended consequences. For example, changing the color of the outer casing, it's not going to create any big difference. Increasing the size of the key labels, not a big difference. Adding a softer grip, it's not going to create any big difference. Adding a power switch cord, using round versus square in button, installing a backup battery, all those things are very, very, very minor changes, and these changes they usually doesn't require a usability testing. Now comes a very serious and a very important thing that we have to understand: the difference between usability testing and market research. Usability testing is one thing, market research is the other thing. It should not be confused. Usability testing is intended to reveal usability problems, not necessarily to determine the likelihood of occurrence. If you see this, this will give you a better understanding, or the better difference between, help us in understanding the main difference between the market research and the usability testing. Market research, if you take, it is something that focuses on customer preferences, product features, pricing, and market viability. This will help us in understanding how our product is going to perform in the market, and it will also give us a lot of insights on what the market needs. Whereas if you take a usability testing, it's completely different. It is like it will tell us how the user interacts with the device, what kind of risks or design flaws that an equipment has, so that it can be put in the paper, sent to the manufacturers, they can work on and they can give a solution. So the market research is not necessarily usability testing, but we can have one or two questions inside the usability testing, but we cannot say that market research and usability testing are same. So that is what is mentioned here. Market research and usability testing should be separate, and market research questions, however, for example, user opinions on device viability, can be included at the end of the usability testing. So another thing is that in market research, we rely on a large amount of data, unlike the usability testing, where we can have a very small number in sense, not very small number, for some 5 to 12 people, depending on the equipment that we use. So that is a main difference between a market research and usability testing. Right. So with this,